Hello, everyone. Let's talk about experimenting on ourselves. My name is Lo. I am a peptide wellness coach, and I do biohacking experiments on myself so that you know what to expect. Let's open the blinds so we have some light. That's better. It's really common for people to reach out to me and ask, what happens after I reach my goal weight? What if I want to taper off of my GLP-1? How do I keep the weight off? They'll say, I had a friend that was taking SEMA or TERS. They lost the weight, and then afterwards, they put the weight back on. They were really hungry. They had tried tapering down, titrating down to lower doses, and they just couldn't turn off that food noise. Notice how I didn't say Retta there? You know that Retta is my favorite, and I have found that the success rate in keeping weight off after using Retta is higher than everything else. But we'll get into that another time. So 2 things. First off, with SEMA and TERS, they work by increasing your dose higher and higher, okay? They really don't work tapering down, titrating down. They don't work in reverse. You have to increase them for your body to continue responding the same. That doesn't mean that they're not successful or that you shouldn't use them. It's just that once you get to your weight goal, I transition people over onto Retta because it does work by decreasing it, by tapering down, by titrating down to lower and lower doses. Once again, that is something that I'll get into on another video. But getting back on topic, I always tell people that if you want to keep the weight off, this is a lot of mental training. The most common way that people are putting on weight is because they are overeating, they're stretching out their stomach, they start binge eating. When you're stretching your stomach out, when it's supposed to be the size of a fist, but you're stretching it out, there's more room that needs to be filled for you to reach that feeling of being content from the amount that you're eating. You have to eat more and more to keep that stretched out stomach full. It's just a vicious cycle. It's a snake eating its tail. Now, when you've been using GLP-1s to lose the weight and your stomach shrinks back down to a healthy size, about the size of a fist, it takes less to feel full. And when you're seeing the amount that you're putting on your plate and you're realizing it only takes me this much to get full, you're retraining your brain because we're conditioned through our whole life that we have to put so much more on the plate. You have to eat it all before you get up from the table. We're trying to recondition ourselves to learn it only takes a little bit to get us full. You don't need to overeat. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Now, when you reach your goal weight and you're taking small weekly doses, microdoses, maintenance doses, or for the people who have tapered off, when you are keeping up with remembering that you can eat a much smaller amount and maintain that content feeling of being full, you're going to be able to keep the weight off. The way that you're going to put weight back on is if you start randomly binge eating again, stretching your stomach out again, creating such a larger space where you need to eat more again to get full. Again, just a snake eating its tail at that point. Now, I have tested out this theory myself. That's what I'm trying to get at. So I stopped taking Retta a little over a month ago, and I purposely started binge eating. Yes, I wanted to put some weight on, but I wanted to see exactly how that was going to happen. And let me tell you, after being on Retta for 1.5 years, to force feed myself to eat that amount of food that was stretching out my stomach, it was really difficult. I had to put my mind to it. It's not like you're going to just go out for 3 or 4 days in a row, eat a bunch, and then just start stretching your stomach out and gain the weight back. No, this took weeks of me waking up in the morning, knowing I had to start eating and eating all day long. This was an experiment. Guess what? It worked. I gained some weight back, fluctuating between 98 and 100 pounds now. Remember, I was 90 pounds, so about 8 to 10 pounds in the last 4 weeks or so, I think. Yeah, us tiny folks, we can put it on quick too. Now, for any of you that are missing the point here, I am not saying I'm overweight. I am back to my normal weight. What I'm saying is that this was an experiment to stop taking the Retta, to binge eat as much as I could for as long as I could to see exactly how this weight would come back, how quickly, how it would look. And yeah, here we are. And I will emphasize again, this was difficult. So today I just started my microdosing again. I am back to taking 1 milligram of Retta, which I will continue weekly. Because remember, Retta is not just for weight loss. Retta is not just for weight management. It is also an anti-inflammatory. It promotes gut health. It helps with fatty liver. It helps to preserve the muscle that you have when you are working out. Keep up with your proper protein intake. And remember, this is not medical advice. This is just me talking about my personal biohacking experiments, how Retta can affect you, and just to put your mind at ease a little bit about keeping that weight off after the fact. It's pretty difficult after Retta to put it back on unless you really start putting it down. Retta does not suppress your appetite in the way that Sema and TERS does. You are still eating when you're on Retta, just less. You get full quicker and are content with the feeling. Unlike Sema and TERS, which suppresses your appetite, a lot of people say that they find major issues with trying to eat. They're force feeding themselves. It can be a little bit of an uncomfortable situation. Most people don't experience that with Retta. So because you're eating when you're on it, when you taper off, it's not such a shock to your system because you haven't been withholding food from yourself the whole time like a lot of people do with Sema and TERS. It doesn't turn off the food noise, it mutes it. So where Sema and TERS turn off the food noise, you're taking pretty high doses to suppress your appetite. You've lost the weight, you've hit your goal weight, you're ready to taper down, but those two compounds don't work by tapering off. So the food noise returns and then you start binge eating. You put the weight back on. This is not common with Retta, per everything that I just shared with you. We all know how I feel about Retta at this point. I think that Retta is better. TERS might work better for someone where Retta might work better for another person. Sometimes you can't really tell until you start, but it's easy to switch from one to the other. I have tons of information when it comes to this, so if you would like to hear more, you can reach out, shoot me a DM, and I'll talk to you soon.